people to start feeling that they are not going to be able to bring about change. We are incapable of bringing about change. And so we become inactive. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, don't think that way. I promise you victory. I promise you victory. That's the importance of this promise. I want to work on the word promise and us believing in that as a promise. That not you and I are giving, but Allah Almighty is giving. And the importance of seeing it and understanding it and remembering it on a daily basis as we do with Dua al-Faraj as a promise that is very real. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Have you ever thought why you're told when the occultation happens of the Imam of our time, await the coming of the Imam day in and day out, sabahan wa masa'an? Why? Because you're supposed to be active, you're supposed to be involved, you're supposed to be taking action and believing that it will be effective. Maybe not in my lifetime, but it is effective. I may not see the result of that, but it is effective. And of course, in this day and age, I have my hopes very high that it seems, inshallah, it will happen in our lifetime, by the grace of God. The reason why we're told of this promise, the practical implication of knowing about this promise, is to know you will be victorious. Is to realize that your effects, your input, what you do when you're out on the streets, when you have no weapon except for the strong words you use, with the strong poetry you have, on the streets of Houston, Dallas, New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Detroit, and other cities of the globe, that you will be victorious. You may not see it, but listen to the promise. But that concept is only going to be having its effect if we actually believe in that promise. If we actually realize that it's a real promise by the one that can make anything happen. Only if you and I have faith in that, it will have the effect of having us here no matter what happens. Even if I don't see the light, even if I don't see the effect, right at that minute. People ask that, Yawm al-Quds, haven't we done this for too many years? Wait, be patient. Be patient. When you're cooking food, it takes time for it to cook. Right? Be patient. Do what you need to do. When is this going to happen? Be patient. Do what you need to do. It's only going to be effective if we believe in it. We've got to work on that. We've got to work on that. How do we work on it? What are some of the things we need to remember about this and remind ourselves? I will quote someone that all of us here revere, and he's the one that we need to listen to in the absence of our Imam. The one that is in the forefront. The one that has given and will give everything he has for the cause of the Imam of our time. Really and practically, not like me just saying it. Our beloved leader, Ayatollah Khamenei,
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa
tafsir of one of the verses of the Holy Quran and related it to today, and I feel we all need to go away with an understanding of this. What is it? The verse that deals with Prophet Musa ala nabiyyina wa alihi wa alayhi salam, and the mother of this great prophet. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, when he spoke to the mother of Moses, he told her, put your baby. Let me describe the scene. Let's not forget the verses of the Holy Quran are very descriptive of this. The Fir'aun was killing any baby that was born, any baby boy that was born. Imagine the mother of Prophet Musa. She gives birth. It's a boy. She's from that tribe. She's from Bani Israel. The fear that is developing in her heart. How can I protect this child? Because all children are taken from their mothers and beheaded and killed. The hopelessness. Because the authority of the time, the Fir'aun, who has all the power that he needs, this is what he's doing. In all hopelessness, God speaks to him and says, put your baby in the box and put him in the river. Don't worry. Just do that. In all hopelessness, the mother of Prophet Musa puts this baby in that box, in that chest, and sends the baby off. God says, I have a promise to you. This baby will live and he will become a prophet. All right, get this. This baby will live through this. Not only that, he will become the prophet that will rise against this system and destroy the system. Where the mother of Prophet Musa is, the circumstances she's dealing with, saving the life of the baby is even seeming as impossible. Much less this boy is going to live, and we will see a time where the Fir'aun is no longer going to rule over us. Two promises were made. The verse of the Holy Quran says, shortly we showed the mother of Prophet Musa. You've heard the story. The chest moves in the river. Who picks it up? The people of Prophet, or the people of Fir'aun. They pick up the Prophet Musa, and the conversations are there between Asiya and her husband, the Fir'aun. The enemy of this prophet, the one who beheads the children of Israel, is the one that picks this baby up by the grace of God and brings him in. And then when they want to nurse this child, God makes it happen such that the mother of Musa anonymously is going to get her baby back and feed and nurse the baby. Okay? The verse says this. We let her see. She got her baby back and she saw that the baby would live. Why? In order that she would realize God's promise is true. There were two promises. One promise was the promise of this child living through it. The second promise was something that was going to happen later on. He says we showed that smaller sign and that smaller promise came true in order that she knows the second promise is also going to be true. In applying that into today's world and the circumstances we're in, brothers and sisters, a very important parallel is drawn today. If we are promised that all of the corruption you're seeing, all of those mutilated baby bodies that you're seeing on the media, those medias that portray it, momentarily maybe, when we're promised all of that is going to be gone, all the famine, the people are going to starve because the rich countries of the world prefer keeping the price of their wheat steady and stable instead of feeding those poor people, this is going to change and it will be over with. A lot of us can't see that. A lot of us can't see it. But a smaller example of that is shown to us, brothers and sisters. And we need to understand this and work on it, develop a better understanding, and remind ourselves continuously, regularly of this. What is that? I like to call it, and others have called it, but I'm not sure if they called it in this very same way that I am calling it. I call it the dawn of the revolution of the Imam of our time.
لبيك يا مهدي لبيك يا مهدي.
The dawn. You know, when the sun is gone and it's full of darkness, then there's a first crack of light that comes from the sun, and that's called the dawn. Eventually it starts getting brighter and brighter and brighter until you start seeing the sun. God has shown us the dawn of the global revolution of the Imam of our time. What is that? When the superpowers of the world were choking Islam and Muslimin as the last of the mustada'afin to take over and control the globe without anyone being able to stand up to them, against all odds, believers with strong will and strong iman stood up without anything to bear as arms or as anything, without any funding, without any support, except for Allah Almighty. And no one could see that revolution succeeding. For many of us, especially the younger generation, brothers and sisters, you may have heard this from me, but please go and study it and see for yourselves. We take for granted the existence of the Islamic Republic of Iran. And we take for granted that this has happened. And we see what is happening in the world today. We're seeing the role that it's playing today. But we haven't seen the days that it didn't exist. Very gloomy days. When the government of Iran, pre-revolution, was actually the base through which the imperial powers were controlling the Middle East. The regime of the Shah, brothers and sisters, especially the younger ones that don't know this, if you see Saudi Arabia today being the ones that are carrying out missions and funding Daesh and the likes of them in the region and causing all of that corruption, pre-revolution, it was the Pahlavi dynasty that was doing that for them. There's an audio file I was listening to, and I was astonished to hear this firsthand. It was an audio file by one of these shuhada, Imam Musa Sadr, of course, if he's a shaheed. We hope he's still alive. Imam Musa Sadr, may Allah bless his soul, whether he's alive or he's passed away. And he's recorded his voice talking about the circumstances he's dealing with. And he's talking about certain programs, sessions, protests, activities that they're setting up in Lebanon. Who are the people that come and stop them and create problems? Is it the Lebanese government? No. Is it the Wahhabis of Saudi Arabia? No. Is it Qatar or any of these small countries that were not even seen at that time? No. Who is it? It is the embassy of Iran that is doing that in Lebanon. And he explains how the believers in the Khalij that are trying to be active, the ones who are causing problems and not allowing them to be active, is the regime of Iran. The strongest supporter of Israel in the region, Iran. No one would see or could see that this strong regional power that has